You think America is a very generous government? They are not. They are just using their brain to make money from you. Then they give you part of that money back.
No.
The same way they are doing with the issue of our policemen in Haiti now. Where is the money funding them coming from? Do you know?
I don't know.
You think the American taxpayer would be stupid enough to give their money for a foreign police force? No. There is a way they get that money from somewhere. The question is where?
And there is also this thing. Some people are asking that why is it that Donald Trump is vying for the second time? Yet he had been the president. Is it really because he ran for the first time? He was the president only once?
You see, Trump had the right of running because according to their constitution, a president is supposed to do two terms of 4 years each. What happened is he was defeated by Joe Biden in the last election.
That's true.
And if it was not for Barack Obama, Joe Biden could possibly not have won the last election because it was also too close. And that is why Trump almost refused to get out of power that time. So Obama thought he still has the charisma to take another leader into power. And by the way, I told you Obama is a typical Kenyan politician.
And by the way, before you talk about that, why is it that Kenyans, we are so much talkative? Everywhere we are so much noise. We have to be felt.
In fact, I was going to ask you this question. How many US presidents do you know, those that retired ones who are still alive?
If Donald Trump is the 47th.
Yes. No, I'm talking of those who are still alive.
At around...
Clinton is there.
Obama, let's include Obama. George Bush is there. Clinton is there.
Ronald Reagan.
And...
Reagan
passed
died.
Passed on 2 years ago, I think.
Jimmy Carter.
Around 8, 9.
They are there.
Yeah.
But do you hear about them?
You don't.
We've heard of Obama in the last 2 elections.
Yeah.
Why?
Obama is a Kenyan.
Because he's a Kenyan.
Of course, we know Kenyan.
This is the character of a typical Kenyan. Kenyans never retire.
They want to be felt.
Kenyans don't retire. They have to be kicked out.
And remember, he's not just a Kenyan. Obama is a Luo.
He's a Luo.
Yeah. What do Luo do in politics?
You come from that region. Maybe you need to tell me.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
So that is the situation. And I think when Senator Cherargei tried to extend the term to 7 years, somebody else came up with a proposal of 4 years like the Americans do. I think that would be a better idea for Kenya as opposed to doing 7 years. Yes, those who are arguing for the lengthening of the term say, there are projects that take a long time to complete. There should be systems in place that dictate that once a government initiates a project, it has to be completed. Enough money should be given. But then, of course, in Kenya, we have our common problem. You saw the young man Maraga going around and showing us projects that were funded and never completed. Last time I gave you an example of a place where I used to stay, Mama Wahu, here in Dagoretti. That road was fully paid for. It is supposed to be tarmacked. But do you know, up to date, nothing has ever been done. And somebody ate that money. And that is not the only one. There is money for hospitals that was allocated and paid, but the project was never completed. There are monies for schools that were never built. The other time we were being shown schools in just signboards and painted gates. There are no buildings, there are no children. And there are teachers on payroll in those schools that don't exist.
And when elections
they are earning. There are senior directors we saw in one of the counties. A senior director, somebody has made his mother a senior director of education in the county, and she's on payroll. And the mother possibly has not even gone to school to get that position.
Even the mother has got no idea that she's...
Exactly. She just gets money in her account. She doesn't know where it comes from. There is a pay slip. So there are so many ghost workers in different counties in this country And I think our problem is somebody said is we have a software problem. We Kenyans are generally good people, very hardworking. But if you want to know the real character of a Kenyan, put them where money is and where power is.
Somebody said, I had some Kikuyu guys saying that Moses Kuria is also goes to work in Ruto's government because what does he do?
No, not only Moses Kuria.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what exactly is the Farouk Kibet's job description in the constitution?
Farouk?
Yes.
Farouk is a mercenary.
Is it in the constitution? And can you substantiate that? Can you tell me exactly what is the work of Oscar Sudi in government?
Oscar Sudi is an MP.
Oscar Sudi today is very powerful. If he lands here, everybody will stand and salute him. But nobody knows what he does in government. The other day he was interviewed and somebody, I think he was asked where he gets money. He said, you see me flying up out of this country, you think I'm going to look for stones. I go to look for money. Now who sends him? What kind of business does he do? If it is true that these people are succeeding in business the way they are doing because they are in government, why don't they bring those lessons to those of us in business so that we also learn how to be successful like they are? Because we are here doing business. And today, the sector I work in, today, if you go to ask somebody for maybe save even 5,000 or 10,000, like there is somebody I was talking to this morning, and he says, this Ruto government has really squeezed our pay slips. We cannot afford to save even this amount. But people in government are making millions of money
on a
every
daily
day.
basis.
People who are, like you just mentioned a few minutes ago, these days Ichungwa flies to
he works in Nairobi and goes back home on a flight.
Exactly. Where does he get it? When I did the last research, it used to cost about is it some hundreds of thousands to keep a helicopter in the air for 1 hour. So where do they get this money?
Our money.
Our MPs, like my neighboring MP at home, some guy called Didmas Baraza. Before Didmas became MP, we had a meeting with him and some other media guy in Kawangware. We met in a certain house, and when he was sharing how he went to school supported by his mother who was brewing changa and so on. And we encouraged him to go and buy. At that time, Didmas was... possibly, I think I was better off than him because at that time I was the principal of a high school. So I was making some money. Didmas didn't have any money. Today, Didmas owns a helicopter. I don't know how many of them. He's preparing to run for governor. Today, Didmas is untouchable.
Those are Ruto guys.
What kind of enterprise are these people running in government? And that is why I keep insisting. If we want to succeed in terms of leadership and governance, we should kick all the businessmen out of government. People should go there to serve, not to do business. And
talking about, there is something that I want us to talk about, by the way. I've just remembered. Let us talk about, it's not about tribalism or what. I want us to look at the Kikuyus, the central, like... they've had 3 presidents.
The Mulima guys.
Let us focus now on the Mulima guys.
Yes.
And the its factor. They had got Jomo Kenyatta, the first president. They had got Mwai Kibaki, the third. And then they had got Uhuru Kenyatta, the fourth.
Yes.
So those are 3 presidents coming from Mount Kenya.
Yes.
So all along they've been in government. And not just being in government, they've been like the spearheaders in Kenyan government. And then now they went and had got Rigathi Gachagua as the deputy president. So the second in command. So they had got first in command, and then they had got the second in command. And then all of a sudden they started fighting the second in command, who was representing them. The whole of Mount Kenya, they were being represented by Rigathi Gachagua. Okay, after fighting Rigathi Gachagua, now they've thought that maybe William Ruto will consider someone from Mount Kenya again. of course Kithure Kindiki is coming from Mount Kenya, but Kithure Kindiki is not a Kikuyu. So why is it that these Kikuyu guys are fighting their own?
Number one, you are wrong. It is not true that they were fighting Rigathi. We all know, any intelligent Kenyan knows who wanted Rigathi out of that position. I stated here clearly,
it is Ruto.
The reason Rigathi had to go is because he could stand up against what Ruto wanted to do. You remember when they were demolishing houses along Nairobi River? Who stopped it? It is
Gachagua. But now the problem is, it's not even about who wanted Rigathi Gachagua out. It is the people that were fighting on how Rigathi Gachagua can get. William Ruto wanted him out, but he was using which people? Why could they stand and say that no, we cannot fight our own? People like Imani Chungwa, that we cannot fight our own.
Boniface, let me ask you a question. If you were in a financial problem, then I wanted you to do something for me, of course a bad one, but I put on the table 10 million. I tell you, this is going to take only 1 or 2 hours. Please take your 10 million and do it. Will you do it?
Integrity is very much important. Integrity.
People talk integrity until they see money. There is one MP who commented and said, in fact, I've never seen such an amount of money in my life. I think that was the senator for Kiambu.
Is it Kiamba or Kiambu?
Is it, is called Thangwa or somebody?
Thangwa.
He made such a comment. And that told me, the reason these people were doing what they were doing is not because they believed in anything. It is just because they had been paid.
The money offered.
And it reminds you again when Raila was shouting about bunge having been turned into Munanda.
Into Munanda.
Watu wananunuliwa na kuuzwa kama kuku.
Kama kuku.
That is exactly the problem with our parliament. We have people who are elected to go. A legislator, that is a member of parliament, has only 4 roles defined in the constitution.
In the constitution.
One of them is representation. What does representation mean? It means that even if any bill coming to parliament, I have to go and consult my people and see what they say. And because I'm their representative, I come and tell the parliament, this is what my people want. But in our case, it is the other way around. The MPs are called in a meeting somewhere, maybe by the ruling party, like they have been doing during this and the last term. You hear the KK MPs are meeting somewhere, either State House or some other place. They call them to coach them and tell them, go and tell your people this and this and this. And this is the method they use. They come to look for people on the ground who they call opinion leaders. I've been involved in those ones, so I know. They tell opinion leaders, go and tell people this. So instead of them being playing the role of representation, they are now getting instructions from elsewhere, which means they are not representing the people on the ground. They are representing somebody up there who wants to pass certain policies, however unpopular they may be. That is the problem we have. And the day we get leaders like we used to have leaders like the likes of the late Masinde Muliro. We had Martin Shukuku from where I come from. We had people like the Arguings. The Kodek, that Mohindi guy who was gunned down here in Parklands. What was his name?
What's his name? Can I really remember his name?
People like the late Tomboy.
The Tomboy, so
people who could stand up and say, no, this is the right way to go. We don't have those people anymore. What we have are people who are going there and with the intention of making as much money as possible within the shortest time possible to acquire buildings. And maybe if they have, why do you think people go there, maybe married to one wife and they come out with several, and the women are not even complaining?
How many are your brother? Your brother has how many?
Which brother of mine? My senator.
The Boni Halwale, my MC.
Senator Halwale is my senior. You know Halwale and I went to the same school. He was some years ahead of me, and we have what we call a bro code. We don't discuss our brothers in such forums. We have a forum. By the way, I went to Kakamega High School. And we have a forum where we address each other.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So if we have a problem with the Halwale, there is a place where we summon him and talk to him one on one.
But they are allowed to marry as many wives.
So, but he has, as long as he can afford. You see, the Muslims, like I told you last time, are allowed up to 4 wives, and as long as they can support them. But and that is why I told you they are going to take over leadership of this country in our lifetime.
They're going to take.
Because Ruto was elected last by 7 million votes. Assuming we have only 1 million men marrying 4 wives each. That is 5 million votes already.
Yeah, that is 5 million.
Add children. We will have a Somali president in our lifetime in this country. And I don't know if it will... going back to the issue of religion that we have always addressed, I don't know if when we get that kind of president, we will start having prayers at State House.
It will be. It will, because even the current president, the State House, they normally have time for the Muslim.
The Muslims will also build a mosque somewhere there around.
Yeah, because I remember at one point I was in one of these military camps, and I spent quite some times, and I realized something. That what they do after the Christians have been given opportunity to pray, they also give the Muslims. Yeah, so that is they divide. They don't like if you are a Christian. When they are the whole of you, now that is what you do.
Now let me ask you a hypothetical question concerning that.
Yeah,
is it biblical? I don't want you to answer that one. Just think about it. Is that what the Bible says?
Let's talk about Maraga.
Yes, Maraga.
Yeah, that is the former Chief Justice.
The former Chief Justice David Maraga.
David Maraga, a very, very, very loyal, a very transparent, a very truthful man. If you're looking about
last time I met Maraga at we had a function at it is called Lavington United Church. Sometime back, and I remember that even Mudaura was there. And a few other people were there. And Maraga gave a sermon that day. And during his talking, he mentioned a few things. And after that, I walked to him, and after shaking hands with him, I asked him, why don't you run for president one of these days? And Maraga looked at me and said, not in this country. But he didn't explain further. People like Maraga are rare to find. People who cannot be bought by money. I like the ruling he gave in after was it the 20, when he took Ruto and Uhuru back to the ballot?
It was a 2017. 2017, yeah.
Yes. If we had such people, even leave alone Maraga, we even talked to Professor Kivutha Kibwana. We wanted a ticket of maybe a combination of such people with that character and throw in people like PLO. This PLO, Lumumba. He's very eloquent at speaking. I don't know. I've never experienced his leadership. But at some point, I think he was given some anti-corruption role. He was the chairman. And he spent most of the time talking as opposed to doing. But back to Maraga. Maraga is a good man. But he said he had retired. Maybe what I'd tell the well-meaning Kenyans in this country is that we organize a movement and we look for Maraga wherever he is and bring him and force him to run for president so that we make him We put him in that position.
Because I had him even correcting the CJ, because he's saying that these guys can give you a sum of money. They can just decide to put you in a trap.
Exactly.
They give you money, then after taking, now you are worthless. They don't recognize you anymore. It is a very truth. And he declared by saying that he has never taken a bribe. He has never
taken a bribe.
And he will never.
That is what he said.
And he will never take a bribe. So do you think there is a possibility of maybe people look for him, he can vie for the presidency?
We can force him to vie.
Sometimes you can force.
Yeah, sometimes you know. When I was in school, we used to have a comment, something goes like this: where diplomacy fails, force is applied. Many teachers were using that excuse to cane us, that because we have talked to you and you are not listening, so we are forcing you. I'm not saying we go and cane Maraga to run for president, but imagine if 1 million people showed up at his home and told him, we are not leaving until you accept to run and be our president. Do you think he'll refuse?
Not even 1 million, even 1,000. 1,000 people. 1,000 people is very many people that can send a message.
So we can force these two gentlemen. They are old. They are in their maybe 70s, 80s.
They can change.
So we can force Maraga and Kivutha Kibwana and bring them back to public service. When I asked Kivutha Kibwana that question, you know what he told me? He told me that his children and his wife and his grandchildren now want him home. They don't want him in public service anymore. Recently, he took a teaching role at Daystar University. I'm telling people who will still believe that Kivutha Kibwana can do it, we can go. This is a walking distance from where I am now. We can go for him and force him to run in the next election. Otherwise, we will keep having these jokers and pretenders because they have a lot of money which they have stolen from us. They'll still use the same money to bribe our people and get to power and do whatever they want. And there is nothing you can do.
And I heard that is the former LSK chairman, that is Haji, saying that urging Maraga to come and vie for the president. I've not heard his response yet, but I was thinking if I can get access to him, it will be very easy at least.
There is okay.
But we'll talk about that.
I can just make a general comment. Many people who know Maraga know where he goes to church. He's a very active member of the church, and he goes there every day. He preaches sometimes. You want to get him, make a point of visiting that church. Go say, he's an approachable guy, by the way. Although, of course, the security measures have to be taken all the time.
That's true, yeah.
But I think he's very approachable. I've approached him myself. In fact, I was shocked that he said hi to me. But that is the man we are talking about. Humble, having been a CJ, having made very serious decisions with very serious political and security implications. But he still walks around free. Nobody has ever followed him. That is what happens to a good man. You see, when you have done a lot of wrong things, you will spend most of your time hiding from people. Some of these people, especially those ones in this government, I'd give two examples. During the times of Moi, we had a cabinet minister called the Total Man, Nicholas Biwott.
Yeah, Biwott.
Do you know Biwott could not even use a mobile phone? He would borrow from strangers randomly, come with a SIM card, put in, make a call, and then throw away the SIM card and go away. He never used to. In fact, when he died, they had to bury him in a bulletproof coffin. Why? Is it because of the things he had done? We used to hear of accusations and counter accusations. When Kibaki came, we had a very powerful minister called Chris Murungaru. Have you ever heard of him since he left power?
No.
Why did he go into hiding?
We don't even know whether he's alive or
You don't even know whether he's alive or not. During, who came after Kibaki? Uhuru. Who was the most powerful minister in the first administration of Uhuru Kenyatta?
Matiang'i.
up to the end. Immediately after the last election, we had rumors that Matiang'i is out of the country.
Yeah, Matiang'i is out of the country.
And he
but
has
he did
never
well.
been,
But seriously,
he has never been seen.
Matiang'i did well. He did his
You
part.
see, when you are in power, and this should be a warning to those who are in power now.
Yeah.
This power will come to an end one day.
Yeah, that's true.
Will you be free to walk in these streets of Nairobi and meet people like us and feel free, take a drink with us?
Yeah, it only depends with how now you handle yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is what leaders, those who get into leadership, forget.
So right now we have, who do we have? A lot of, in this government, we have got Kimani Chungwa. We have got, Farouk Kibet is not in government, but we can just include him there.
Yes.
We have got somebody like Oscar Sudi, Moses Kuria. Where will they lay their heads at the end of this?
In fact,
and even the president himself, let us not forget.
Yes.
Because right now, are you seeing the way Uhuru Kenyatta is working freely? A free guy.
Yeah, because he knows he did his best. Uhuru actually sometimes drives himself.
Yeah, he drives
meet him
himself.
randomly in the traffic jam, and he's just alone.
Yeah, just alone.
There is no big deal. But some of these people, I'm telling you, I think they'll have to look for another country after they get out of power.
People like Didmas Baraza.